Welcome to PNZ Techie, free online tutorial for our engineering friends. In this tutorial, we are going to study about the bending stresses. In previous tutorial, we learned about shear force and bending moment diagram for beams subjected to external loads. The bending moment diagram gives the bending moment at any section on the beam. Bending moment is the magnitude of torque trying to bend the beam having a nature of sagging or hogging. The beam is able to resist the bending moment by developing force of resistance in its various layers which produce a counter moment or resistance torque. The force of resistance per unit area is termed as stress, and since the force of resistance is to counter the bending, these stresses are termed as bending stresses. In short, the stresses induced due to bending moment are known as bending stresses. What is simple bending or pure bending? A typical beam subjected to load shows the presence of shear force and bending moment at all sections of the beam. When a length of beam is subjected to only bending moment and no shear force, such a beam is said to be under simple or pure bending. In a simple bending situation, the stresses so produced will be only due to bending moment. The derivation of the relation for calculation of the bending stresses is based on the assumptions that the beam is under simple bending. Theory of simple bending. Before discussing the theory of simple bending, let us list the assumptions made in the theory of simple bending. First, the material of the beam is homogeneous and isotropic. Second, the beam is initially straight and all the longitudinal fibers bend in circular arcs with a common center of curvature. Third, members have symmetric cross sections and are subjected to bending in the plane of symmetry. Fourth, the beam is subjected to pure bending and the effect of shear is neglected. Fifth, plane transfer sections through the beam taken normal to the axis of the beam remain plane after the beam is subjected to bending. 6. The radius of curvature is large as compared to the dimensions of the beam. Let us discuss the theory of the simple bending. Consider a beam having symmetrical cross sections as shown and subjected to loads resulting in simple bending. The beam axis AB passes through the centroid along the length of the beam. Consider a small part element of the beam between two planes PQ and RS perpendicular to the beam axis and delta x apart. On loading, we note that the beam deforms all the layers in the beam deform except for the layer NN at the beam axis. This layer at the beam axis is known as the neutral layer. The line of intersection of the neutral layer on the cross section of the beam is known as the neutral axis. Layers above the neutral layer appear to have been shortened while the layers below the neutral layer appear to have elongated. The shortening or elongation, that is deformation of the layer, appears proportional to the location of the layer from the neutral layer. The deformation in different layers of the beam indicate that the layers are under stress. Also, the variation in deformation is indicative of the fact that the stresses are also varying. Since the layers above the neutral layer have shortened, they are therefore subjected to compressive stress, while the layer below the neutral layers have elongated. They are therefore subjected to tensile stresses. Stress at the neutral layer should be zero since no deformation is noted. These stresses are referred to as bending stress, and this theory is known as theory of simple bending. Relation for bending flexure equation. Let us work with the earlier small portion of the beam between the planes PQ and RS and of length delta x. On bending, the planes tilt to P dash, Q dash and R dash, S dash such that these meet at O and subtend an angle theta as shown. Point O is the center of curvature of the beam subjected to bending. Let the neutral layer NN be located at a distance r from O. The radius r is referred to as radius of curvature of bending. Consider a layer EF of length delta x, distance y from the neutral layer NN. Let this layer deform to E dash F dash on bending. Original length EF is equal to delta x is equal to r theta, that is S is equal to r theta. New length of EF becomes E dash F dash is equal to r plus y theta. So the change in length of EF is equal to r plus y theta minus r theta, that is equal to y into theta. So the strain in layer EF is equal to change in length of EF to original length of EF, which is equal to y theta upon r theta, which is equal to y by r. Here we note that since the radius of curvature r is constant, the strain in layer is proportional to its distance from the neutral axis. If F is the stress in the layer EF, then F is equal to E into strain, which is equal to E into y by r, or F by y is equal to E by r. How location of centroidal axis gives location of neutral axis? For that, we consider one figure having the beam cross section. Consider a layer of area dA at a distance y from neutral axis. Now the force on the layer equals to stress in layer into area of layer, that is F into dA. So it becomes E by R into y dA. That is our equation A. So the total force on the beam cross section, that is, for that we have to integrate that equation. So we integrate to E by R into y dA. So in this equation E and R are constant, so it comes out of the equation E and R. So E by R is equal to integration of y dA. For the beam to be in equilibrium, the total force on the beam cross section should be 0. So that equation E by R integration of y dA is equals to 0. So E and R are constant, so they cancel out and we get integration of y dA is equals to 0. Now YdA represents the moment of the elemental area about the neutral axis, that is, integration of YdA represents the moment of the entire area about the neutral axis. So, for any given area, we know that the moment of the entire area about the centroidal axis of the area is 0. Hence, the neutral axis coincides with the centroidal axis, and therefore the location of the centroidal axis gives the location of neutral axis. Moment of resistance. Consider a beam section under pure sagging bending. Here the layers above the neutral axis are subjected to compressive forces. The magnitude of this compressive force is proportional to the location of the layer from the neutral axis. Similarly, the layers below the neutral axis are subjected to tensile forces, the magnitude being proportional to the location from the neutral axis. The moment of the forces in all the layers above the neutral axis is known as the moment of resistance of the section. The moment of resistance is a result of bending and is a resisting moment to the applied bending moment. So let us derive the equation of bending or flexure equation. From the equation A, force on the layer equals to E by R YdA. Moment of this force about the neutral axis equals to E by R YdA into Y equals to E by R Y square dA. Total moment of the force in different layers equals to moment of resistance. So for that we have to integrate the above equation E by R Y square dA. So after integrating we get as E by R out of the equation, and remaining part is integration y square dA. So here the integration y square dA is a second moment of inertia which can be replaced by I. So now the equation moment of resistance becomes E by R into I, or M by I is equals to E by R. So after comparing the equations 1.1 as well 1.2, we get Fb by Y equals to M by I equals to E by R. So this equation is known as equation of bending or flexural equation. Moment of resistance from bending stress diagram. Consider a beam section under sagging moment. We are now aware about the fact that under a sagging moment, the fibers above the neutral axis are under compressive forces and the fibers below the neutral axis are under tensile forces. The compressive and tensile stresses so produced are proportional to the distance of the fiber from the neutral layer. The stress distribution diagram, when plotted along the vertical depth of the beam, shows linear variation with zero stress value at the neutral axis and maximum stress value at the top and bottom fibers. In the stress diagram, we shall represent compressive and tensile bending stresses as FBC and FBD respectively. Now, total compressive force C equals to average compressive stress into cross-sectional area above the neutral axis. Similarly, total tensile force equals to average tensile stress into cross-sectional area below the neutral axis. So from equilibrium of the section C equals to T, also if D is the distance between C and T, then the resisting couple, the M equals to moment of resistance equals to C into D is equals to T into D. Similarly, for a section under hogging bending moment, the layers above the neutral layer will be in tension and layers below the neutral layer will be in the compression. The bending stress distribution diagram is shown in the figure. Here also the moment of resistance is provided by the couple due to total compressive force C and an equal total tensile force T separated by distance D, that is moment of resistance equals to M is equal to C into D is equals to T into D. Section modulus. From the bending equation 1.3, Fb by Y equals to M by I. Maximum bending stress Fb max occurs at farthest fiber from neutral axis. So the equation becomes Fb max by Y max equals to M by I. Or we can written this equation in the form as M is equals to Fb max into I by Y max. Here I by Y max replaced by Z. So the equation becomes M is equals to Fb max into Z. Here Z is equals to I by Y max. Z is referred to as modulus of section or section modulus. Since Z is a geometrical property of the beam cross section, for a given material, the bending moment carrying capacity or the moment of resistance M will depend upon section modulus Z and in fact is directly proportional to it. Section modulus for various shapes of beam cross section. For rectangular section, moment of inertia of rectangular section about an axis passing through its center of gravity and perpendicular to the plane of bending, that is through neutral axis, is I is equal to BD cube by 12. Also, distance of extreme fiber from the neutral axis for rectangular section Y max equals to D by 2. So we have the equation Z equals to I by Y max. After putting these values in the equation, we get the equation as a BD cube by 12 divided by D by 2. So after solving this equation, we get the section modulus for rectangular section as Z equals to BD square by 6. Section modulus for circular section. Moment of inertia of circular section is pi d4 by 64, as well as the distance of extreme fiber from the neutral axis for circular section is D by 2. So after putting the values in the equation of section modulus I by Y max, we get the equation as a pi d4 by 64 divided by D by 2. So after solving this equation, we get the section modulus for circular section as Z is equals to pi d cube by 32. Section modulus for triangular section. For the triangular section, moment of inertia is BH cube by 36, as well as distance of extreme fiber from neutral axis is 2h by 3. So putting these values in equation Z is equal to I by Y max, we get this as a BH cube by 36 divided by 2h by 3. So after solving this equation, we get section modulus for triangular section as Z is equals to BH square by 24. Force and moment of resistance of partial cross sectional area. Figure shows the cross section of the beam subjected to bending stress. Let A be the partial area and dA be an element of the partial area located at a distance y from the neutral axis. Let Fb max be the maximum bending stress in the beam cross section. Now the bending stress in the layer containing the element is equal to Fb max by y max into y. After differentiating this equation, we get partial force of the cross sectional area is Fb max by y max into area into y bar. Here y bar represents the distance of centroid of the partial area from the neutral axis. Also, by taking the moments of the partial area about the neutral axis, we get moment of resistance of partial cross sectional area equals to Fb max by y max into Ip, where Ip is the moment of inertia of the partial area about the neutral axis. Composite beams and method of analysis. So far, the beams under the action of bending were made of only one material. To enhance the load carrying capacity of beams, especially the wooden beams, more than one material may be used in its construction. The different materials are rigidly connected to one another so as to behave as a composite beam. Figure shows steel plate and wooden beam are rigidly connected to form composite beams. They have different elasticity. Ratio of their elasticity is called as a modular ratio. There are two methods of analysis of composite beams. Method 1, finding individual moment of resistance of each material by using M is equal to F by Y into I. Second, since strain in the two materials at the same level would be the same, we can therefore use F1 by E1 is equal to F2 by E2, where M is equal to E1 by E2, that is modular ratio. Third, the total moment of resistance of the composite section is the sum of the moment of resistance of the different materials, that is M is equal to M1 plus M2. Method 2, transform the composite section into an equivalent single material section. For this, if M is equal to E1 by E2, then material 1 can be transformed into material 2 by multiplying the dimensions of the material 1 parallel to the neutral axis by M. Alternatively, material 2 may be transformed into material 1 by dividing the dimensions of the material 2 parallel to the neutral axis by M. Find the moment of resistance of the equivalent section by using M is equal to F by Y into I, where I is the moment of inertia of the equivalent section, F is the stress in any layer located at a distance y from the neutral axis. The moment of resistance of the equivalent section is the moment of resistance of the composite section. Beams of uniform strength. Usually, beams have uniform cross sections which is arrived at so as to resist the maximum bending moment on the beam. This implies that in some portions of the beam, the bending moment is of lesser value, while the cross section remains as required for maximum bending moment. This uniform cross section throughout the beam leads to material wastage and underutilization of the beam cross section. It would therefore be appropriate to vary the cross section of the beam in order to resist varying bending moment along the beam length. This would result in reduced cross section at portion of lesser bending moment, resulting in economical design. A beam correctly designed for actual requirement of strength is referred to as beam of uniform strength. For a rectangular cross section of breadth B and depth D, the beam of uniform strength can be obtained either by varying the breadth and keeping the depth constant, or varying the depth and keeping the breadth constant. The varying dimensions B and D of the cross section at a section can be obtained by equating the bending moment at the section to the moment of resistance of the section. Hope you understand the concept of bending stresses. If you have any query, write down in comment section. Subscribe and stay tuned for our next video. Thank you.